They tell you it's a numbers game. They say it only takes one. Yes? Well, while that's mathematically true, it's psychologically hollow. At the time of this recording, I have just finished an 8-month marathon, 150 applications, over a dozen interviews, 8 months of scraping together whatever remained, not just from my finances, but of my sense of self. And like I said, as of this recording, I've started a new job. You know, uh, wow, thank whomever at this point in time. The yes finally came. But before I turn this page fully, as I'm still doing my onboarding and training, I want to talk about the chapters that we usually skip over. These are the ones that are written in silence of an empty inbox, because while the yes is the finish line, it's the race itself that really changes who we are. Now, if you're new here, I'm Jerry, and this is my channel called Perspectives of Jerry. This is where we do deep dives into different experiences. Usually from a Generation X experience, jobs. I also have a nice series called the Heroic Icons series that I do every Friday. If you're liking all these or you like this video, please remember to like the video on your way in, subscribe to the channel, because it helps me keep this channel going and, lets me know that I'm, making a difference somewhere. So, if you're ready, let's dive into this wonderful tale of 8 months of woe. When you are 8 months deep into unemployment, you're not just losing money. And trust me, I lost money. You're losing your pillars. Anthropologist David Gilmour, in his study Manhood in the Making, identified 3 cross-cultural mandates that define the masculine role, and these would be provider, protector, and progenitor. When we talk about the provider role, we aren't just talking about a paycheck. Although, let's face it, we need that. But we are talking about utility. For most of history, a man's status was tied to what he brought back to the tribe. When you've applied to 150 jobs and heard almost nothing, that provider pillar is demolished. You experience a status deficit. You feel like you've been demoted from a contributing member of the tribe to a ghost haunting the machinery of society. Now, beyond providing is also the role of protector. This isn't about physical defense, although in some cases it can be, but it's also about being the buffer between your life and the chaos of the world. When you have no savings and you're scraping, you feel like a protector who has lost his shield. A 2025 study in the Journal of Men's Studies highlights that when a man cannot maintain his financial perimeter, he experiences hyper-vigilance. You're constantly on edge. You're waiting for the next bill or the next emergency because you don't have the resources to protect your household from it. You feel completely vulnerable and you're trying to appear strong. And that might fool people who know you peripherally, but the people who know you best, they don't. They can see it. The third P is progenitor. This is about generativity, which is the ability to build something that lasts. According to Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development, as we move through our 40s, the primary struggle is generativity versus stagnation. Now, and just so you're aware, I'm now in the latest of my 40s. I turned 50 in a couple months. Honestly, as a guy who never thought he'd make it past 30, considering what he's grown up with, 50 is a big deal. And I'll have a special video just for that. But in an 8-month loop of 150 no's, and I want to clarify this, I did an average. I was doing at the minimum 4 applications a week because that's what unemployment required of me. But there were weeks I was doing around 6. So if you take the average of around 5 applications a week times 4 weeks in a month and times 8 months, that's where the 150 number comes from. And that's the number of applications. And sometimes I got an interview, sometimes I even got a second interview, but then I also got the whole thank you but no thank you email somewhere returning it, and sometimes they just took forever to get there too, so you're kind of hoping and waiting and then nothing. And I'm probably going to get to this later in my script, but I wanted to say it now. That's where that 150 number came from. So, but after that 150 interview marathon of no's, you start to, men especially, because this is strictly from a male point of view. Now, women might experience this, and since I'm not a woman, I'm not going to comment on this one. But from my perspective, it was bad. I mean, you start to feel that weight of stagnation. You feel like you're not building a legacy. You're just treading water, and I was treading. You're losing precious years to an auto reject filter. You aren't planting seeds. You're just trying to survive the afternoon. This isn't just in your head, though. It's biological. In a 2024 meta-analysis in the Journal of Economic Psychology, they found that financial scarcity consumes mental bandwidth. Your IQ actually drops by 10 to 13 points because your brains are entirely focused on survival. Now you combine that with rejection fatigue. According to Psychology Today of 2025, the brain processes social rejection like a recruiter ghosting you in the same neural pathways of physical pain. Imagine being punched 150 times. That's what your nervous system feels like. You fight learned helplessness, the feeling that no matter how well you dress for the interview, the outcome is out of your hands. I left interviews thinking I did great. I went to an hour-long interview. It took over 2 hours. I was that engaged with their conversation. We were, me and the 2 interviewers, we're going. Only to get an email saying, we're choosing a different direction. I should have at least got a second interview just from the quality of the first, and I didn't. And man, were my sales just no wind. Took them right out. So, as I mentioned, by the time at the time of this recording, I have started a new job, and I'm relieved. I am reflecting on the repairs now. I'm starting this job isn't just about the salary. It's repairing and doing the reconstructing of those 3 Ps. I have redone my budget several times. I have done the math so many times to say, okay, how long is it going to take me to fix all of this? I got bills that are behind. I got things that got closed on me. I got things that I just lost, or habits or subscriptions or whatever. They're gone. And it's going to take months, hopefully not a year, but months to repair. So in reconstructing these 3 Ps, the provider part returns to utility. The protector, I get back my shield. It's dented as hell, but that financial perimeter is getting restored, and I can start building a future again for the progenitor part of the. So I'm walking now into this role with a really different perspective than I would have had in the past. The 150 applications didn't define my worth, but they defined my endurance. And If you're in that tunnel right now, application 50 or 150 doesn't matter. Keep walking. The silence of the inbox is not a verdict on your value. It's a season of testing. You're more than your utility, even if the world forgets to tell you. I have a saying personally. This is a personal saying. You have to keep walking forward because that's what time does. It doesn't stop just because you're having a bad day. So you pick yourself up, put your shoulders back, put your eyes forward to the horizon, and just keep walking. Sometimes you walk, sometimes you run. But you have to keep moving forward because that's what time does. If you're struggling out there, I feel you and I see you. And I don't envy you. Trust me, this was tough. And I've apologized so many times to the people I care about because I'm not the person they know or that they grew to know. And sorry. was building pretty well to fixing my life. And then 8 months without a job, it didn't destroy my life, but it destroyed a lot of the things that I had built up, things that I had going real good for me. And I don't know who decided I needed a lesson in humility or that I needed to be knocked down a couple pegs. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. It's over now. And as long as I can do well enough to keep this job and keep going forward, I can rebuild. Men, guys, fellas, you can always rebuild. Take that shovel, take that hammer, take that saw, take those nails, build it. You're never down and out forever. Also, learn to accept a little help. I hate asking for help. That's one of my biggest deficits, and that's probably due to my generation. We hate asking for help. It's our problem. We're supposed to fix it. And for the most part, I did. But honestly, if it wasn't for the kindness of a couple people and a few organizations that kind of kept me going, I would have tried to find the best cardboard box I could. And I would have hated it. But I would have done it. I would have figured it out. And thankfully, I did, and I can keep going. Sorry, personal moment. So, hey, thanks everybody for sticking with me through, these last 13 minutes. I promise it's only going to be another minute or so longer. I just want to remind you that if this perspective resonated with you, or you know people that need to hear that it's not just them, share this to people who this might benefit. Also, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help me out just a tad more, keep me going. The link is in the description for buymeacoffee.com/perspectives of Jerry. Every little bit helps, keep me going. And also in the description will be the resources that I was referencing, so you can read them yourself in full. Just because more information is never bad. All right, well, folks, as a reminder, I'm Jerry. This has been a Perspective of Jerry. I thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one, maybe even from my own new office. You guys keep strong, keep going. I'll see you later. You have a good one.